Great General Sun Tzu once said that opportunities multiply when you seize them. And this is the exact same scenario that Lenovo finds itself in today. A very good morning. A very good afternoon actually. My name is Fahmi. With me I have Leonard, Matthew, and Shuangwei, and we are from Apex Consulting. So looking at exactly where Lenovo is at today, we think that Lenovo can win the war of disruption by going stronger and faster. And we'll talk about that after covering the analysis. So let's take a look at where Lenovo is at today. Number one, we may be a strong company, but our brand is trailing behind. Regrettably, we are not in the top 100 list of brands in China and worldwide, and that is a cause of worry. Number two, we lack a global brand. People do not recognize Lenovo as a brand that delivers great results globally, and that is something that we want to look at. And number three, we still, amidst all of these problems, we still possess a strong set of competitive advantages, and this is something that we should maintain and leverage on. But where exactly do we want to be? We recognize that the landscape is changing. The PC industry is upended by the integration of multiple devices into what we call today the smart connected devices market. And we want to be the leader in that market. We also want to maintain our competitive advantages while building a strong global brand. So how do we get from where we are at to where we want to be? We identified two key issues for you. Number one, how do you react to the redefined industry landscape? How do you react to the fact that individuals and consumers are integrating multiple devices and would like a seamless experience by and large? Number two, how really do you build a strong global brand? And this transition from where you're at to where you want to be is aligning in your objective of growing the tablet and smartphone penetration in China and launching the smart TV product line while expanding your cloud offerings in the world. So where exactly should we focus on? Traditionally, your strategy of protecting and attacking focus on geographical boundaries. By taking a look at Tier 1 to 3 cities, Tier 4 to 6 cities in China, developed cities, and emerging economies. But we think it's time for you to change the way you view things by looking at the product lines that you have been offering, such as desktop, laptop and tablet, smartphones and TV. Now the key reason why it's important for us to view the industry through this lens is because the integration of these four product lines will change how the industry works, will define the connected devices market for you, the smart connected devices market for you. We took a look at Lenovo's presence in these cities with regards to the product lines, and we realized that it's very important for you to focus on the smartphones and TV product lines while focusing on your Tier 1 and 3 cities and your developed cities. Why is that so? Because these cities will allow you to really achieve your objective of building an integrated offering for your consumers. So what's the plan? For the next 5 years, you will continue to protect your presence in desktop and laptop product lines for Tier 4 and 6 cities and for emerging economies. But moving on for the next 5 years, we'll start attacking new spaces in both developed cities and your Tier 1, 3 cities. Because these spots, these locations are equipped with the necessary infrastructure that can embark on a changing industry, which is the creation of the smart connected devices market. So why not the Tier 4 to 6 cities and emerging economies? 3 main reasons. It's not really aligned with core objectives, because if you want to build up your smartphone capabilities, you need to look at locations with strong infrastructure. Also, the upended industry landscape, the integration of devices will affect your Tier 1 and 3 cities a lot more, and your developed cities a lot more in those cities. And lastly, your existing efforts that Lenovo is embarking on can deal with Tier 4 to 6 cities and also emerging economies in terms of growing sales of desktop and of course the laptops. And therefore, we would like you to redefine your idea of protecting and attacking. So what's the game plan? Our aims are twofold. Number one, to grow sales in China in the smartphone and tablet area, and also to launch a smart TV and cloud offering worldwide. How exactly do we do that? We identified 2 key issues. Number one, to react to the changing industry dynamics, and number two, to establish a global brand. Our strategy is to go faster and stronger. Why faster? Before your competitors can leverage on their own strengths and jump on the trend of the emerging connected devices market, it's important for you to do just that. 3 ways. What to leverage on the Think brand. We would like you to enhance your smartphone app offerings. And lastly, partner with strategic firms in which you can provide win-win synergy in order to develop your operating systems, your smart TV, and your cloud offering. For a stronger strategy, it will allow you to improve your perceived value in the minds of the consumers, provide a far more better in-store execution by building emotional resonance that we call story of connected lives. This is pretty much very aligned with the entire industry of connected devices market. And lastly, by providing a better customer relationship management. So how exactly will we allow Lenovo to go a lot faster? Allow Matthew to walk you through the first strategy.
So in our faster strategy, what we need to do is build our capabilities in developing smartphones and smart TVs. These are two new areas for Lenovo to develop. And we propose 3 key partnerships with established firms in the market. Firstly, Sharp for Think TV. Since Sharp is a very established TV manufacturer, and it offers us a platform to enter and penetrate into the Japanese market with our Lenovo products. As well as Sharp being known for being a quality producer, this will help up the quality image of Lenovo. Secondly, for our Think Food, we propose to work with Research in Motion, which has an established platform, BlackBerry platform, and is very corporate in tuned. This will allow us to leverage on our corporate strategy in penetrating new markets and pushing out our Think TV and Think Phone. Last but not least, in building our cloud capabilities, we suggest partnering with a local firm, the Alibaba Group, in the development of AliYun. This was actually a project adopted by the group which actually failed due to lack of hardware platform and adoptability. Thus, if we manage to offer them the hardware platform to promote this AliYun platform to consumers, it would prove beneficial to both companies. Now, as previously mentioned, Lenovo's strength lies in the corporate sector, being one of the largest PC manufacturers and providers to the corporate sector. How then can we reach out to consumers at homes? This is through the integration of work and play. How we intend to do this is by studying how these devices are used in both a work environment as well as a home environment. And you can see that the home environment caters mostly to entertainment as well as social media, whereas the workstations are focused more on document processing as well as presentations. Now then, how do we integrate all these devices into one to give a seamless experience to our corporate users as well as our home users? This comes in the form of the Think Cloud. Now the Think Cloud is basically a central cloud server whereby all information is stored there. Now this offers capabilities to our end users because they are easily able to access this information. And it comes from a joint development through Lenovo, AliYun, as well as Research in Motion. So what Research in Motion contributes will be the mobile aspect, AliYun contributes more the cloud aspects, whereas Lenovo brings in smart TV through the use of Sharp, as well as hardware capabilities in the desktop and laptop capabilities. And this forms our Think Cloud central base. Key benefits for AliYun includes hardware for their platform, and for Research in Motion, it will be an entry into the Chinese market. As we all know, RIM is actually a struggling company at the moment, and with this new development, this new opportunity, they are able to revive and redevelop this industry. Now, how the Think Cloud works is through 4 key benefits. Firstly, as mentioned, it's an integrated data solution. There's a home and enterprise division aspect of it. There's connectivity across your devices, as well as cloud processing capabilities. What this translates to for the end consumer is lower costs and greater convenience. So imagine a typical office worker. He goes to work and he's doing a presentation to a customer. What he does is he finishes the presentation on his Lenovo desktop, sends it to our Think TV, which will be used for the presentation, and brings along his Think Phone for a clicker as well as the slide presentation. And he gives his seamless presentation that way. Thereafter, due to technology and location-based technology, he goes home and he's able to use his Think Phone to access his Think TV as well as his cloud content at home, which includes videos, audio, photos, and it's able to have a seamless integration across both work and play in this sense. Thus, this is the key benefits that we will offer, as well as the cloud processing capabilities, which will allow us to expand in the future into emerging economies, since this will require lower technological capabilities on the end hardware, since most processing will be done in the cloud. Now that we have established how we bring these products to our consumers, I'll hand over time to Shuangwei to show you how we market it to them.
So in order for Lenovo to actually establish itself as a global brand, the key challenge it faces is firstly, how can it actually build its brand awareness, and more importantly, awareness of this new cloud platform that it wants to introduce to the market. And how we intend to do this is through a phased rollout of specialty stores that can provide consumers with this experience of workplace settings and experiencing the Think products within the store in the key developed cities. So our strategy is to actually do a marketing approach which we call the head, heart, hand approach. Head actually looks at how can we actually redefine and improve the brand perception for the Think brand. So currently, when people think of the Think brand, what they think is that this is a brand for corporate users. But we want to show that the Think brand actually caters to more than just the corporate users. We are not diluting the fact of that this brand is one that is professional, but what we want to show that the fact that it's sleek, it's classy, it's a quality product, it actually caters to more than just the professionals. It will also reach out to students, to even the moms and the housewives who will actually be in touch with the different product lines that Think brand actually offers. The heart approach actually looks at how we can actually create this emotional resonance with the different consumers, and how we're going to do this is to create the story of connecting lives. As we know, the cloud platform actually connects the different smart devices through a single platform. Also, connecting lives talk about how the devices provided by the Think brand and having the cloud platform is actually a lifestyle choice, can be a lifestyle choice for consumers, because you can use the devices at work and at play, and these devices are also the devices that you would use to connect with the different people in your life. And lastly, through our strategy, we will also be able to create a connecting point between the brand and the consumers through the in-store experience that we will offer to these consumers. So what we eventually want to achieve is to instill this sense of harmony between technology and between the consumers in our customer experience that we're offering to these consumers. So how exactly can we actually reach out to our consumers? We will do this through the hand approach. So how we're going to do this is to actually create a physical store where consumers can actually have a feel of the products in a work and play setting. So in this store, what you can actually visualize is that there will be a home setting, and then there will be an office setting, and the different devices will actually be spread out across the stores to show how these devices are actually very relevant to the different consumer groups in a different setting, be it in their office or be it at home. And we will also be providing trained sales staff who can provide the technical knowledge of how to use these devices. And more than that, these sales staff, they are actually a connecting point with the consumers. So they will actually bring alive the Think brand experience, and they will also be able to provide the after-sales service to consumers. So through this in-store experience, what we can do is actually engage them by showing how these products are very much a part of their lifestyle, and also we want to be part of the consumer's pre- and post-purchase decisions. So now Leonard will take you through how we're going to implement our strategies over the next 5 years.
Thank you, Sean. Now, looking at the next 5 years, we want to identify where our revenue is coming from and where our costs are significantly going to incur. So on the revenue side, you can see that, as we previously mentioned, we're going to protect our existing product lines in our emerging markets, like the tier 4 to 6 cities in China, as well as our emerging markets, and revenue will come from there, as well as our cloud-based smartphone TV implementation and growth in the tier 1 to 3 China cities, as well as overseas developed markets, and this will provide us a significant source of revenue over the next 5 years. On the cost side of things, we will expect to incur heavy R&D costs when we develop our new Think phone as well as Think TV. And similarly, on the marketing and promotion expenses side, we can also expect to incur significant increases in the marketing and promotional expenses to boost our brand image globally. So looking at the financials in numbers, you can see here that the profit before tax will increase from about 627 million in 2013 to about 1.9 billion in 2017, and this grows at a CAGR of 32%. And significantly, what we want to see is that we want to achieve a EBITDA of at least $1 billion by 2015. So this is a target for our firm, and we believe our recommendations will be able to power us there. So moving on to the implementation timeline. Firstly, the implementation steps in black are in relation to the Think and the cloud platform. So firstly, we need to partner with Alibaba as well as Research in Motion, and this will take up the good part of the first year after our implementation in 2013. And then after we partner with them, we'll jointly research and develop our new product and our new OS and our new application services. And by 2014, we expect to launch our Ting phone as well as our Ting TV to create fanfare in the market. So on the marketing side of things, firstly, we can do a pilot testing of our concept store, which we previously mentioned, in Japan, Tokyo. Secondly, after that, we'll phase establishment of our global stores in Tier 1 and Tier 3 cities in China at the start of 2013, and in New York and Paris in 2014. These are the key developed cities which we have chosen. And lastly, we'll also embark on an ongoing publicity multimedia campaign to re-establish and reinvigorate our brand globally. So moving on to the risk as well as the mitigations that our recommendations could possibly entail. Firstly, our proposed partnership with Alibaba as well as Research in Motion might not have a very certain future. So what we try to mitigate this is we try to ensure that there's mutual benefits in the entire partnership between all three different stakeholders in the party, as well as should that fail, what we can do is we can then develop our in-house capability to jointly to research and develop our new cloud technology. Secondly, the next risk is that smartphone uptake of our Ting phone might not be very substantial. So what we can do to mitigate this is we can actually conduct very thorough market research to ensure that we really truly understand what the needs and the desires of our consumers are. And coupled with our very intensive marketing campaigns, we believe that our smartphone uptake will be substantial enough to drive growth in the future. But should that fail, we should look at possible pricing strategies such as bundle pricing to ensure that we get a whole solution to our customer. So without further ado, I shall hand the time over to Fahmi, who shall conclude and wrap up our presentation.
So traditionally, Lenovo talk about protecting and attacking certain parts of the world as part of the strategy. And the focus of the strategy was looking at geographical boundaries, looking at which city to protect and which cities you ought to attack. We are telling Lenovo that that strategy works, but it's time for you to add a new lens to it. Instead of looking at countries alone, you should take a look at the product lines. Because the reality is, as the industry changes, the changes will take place through the very product lines itself. So what do we provide for you today? We started off with an idea. We redefined the protect and attack strategy for by thinking about product lines and not just geography. And because of that, we'll be focusing on increasing the penetration for smartphones and tablets, and smartphones and smart TV in very specific parts of the world. The Tier 1 and 3 cities in China, and of course in developed cities all around the world. We gave you a twofold strategy: faster and stronger. Why faster? Because our strategy allows Lenovo to be a lot faster than their competitors, to really jump on the opportunity that's at hand, which is the fact that the market is changing, and now the market is creating a new dynamic, a new market altogether, which is the smart connected devices market. So we allow Lenovo to be a lot faster. And that faster strategy led to increased smartphone penetration, and of course the new smart TV offering and the cloud offering worldwide. And then we gave you the stronger strategy, because it's not enough for you just to look at which product lines to focus on. It's also important for you to build a brand, because you are selling a product. We need to sell a brand that truly resonates with consumers. And we took a look at the idea of connecting lives. Because although the PC industry is now being changed by the integration of multiple devices, we want to show that Lenovo allows you to connect lives seamlessly, allows you to achieve a simple balance of yin and yang, a harmony, work and play. And it's exactly what our marketing and branding strategy was all about. This allows us to achieve a stronger branded presence, not just for the Think brand, but also for the Lenovo brand. By and large, we gave you the best financial returns ever. Moving forward to 2017, we actually gave you a 1 billion EBITDA by 2015, way earlier than the end goal, and that EBITDA will actually multiply by more than 2 from the current EBITDA of 465 million in 2012. You are Apex Consulting. This is a strategy for Lenovo, a strategy that will allow your company to be faster and stronger and to win the war of disruption. We are Apex Consulting, and I'm waiting for your questions.
How do you try to achieve this balance, having security for something common use for work, versus personally?
I think that is one of the key differentiations, that points that we are banking on.
Right.
And how we intend to do that would be through the cloud computing solution. So basically what we have is we want to partner with like Research in Motion because they're very established in the security area for corporate emails, for example. And therefore, what we want to do is we offer them cloud computing because then you have your enterprise cloud within the office itself. So outside of the enterprise cloud, you are unable to access all these data, whereas and that cloud will be a separate one from your home cloud, which is your own data and established within your own home. And that, I think, is the key differentiation that we have that will offer security within the enterprise itself, as well as giving you the opportunity to play inside your own home.
And how would you, what kind of incentive you give RNN? Because I think that's the major, advantage that they have. Right now they have this kind of, actually they are already having this working and a personal setting.
The strategic partnership of RIA and Research in Motion is really interesting. So what exactly is the win-win synergy for them? For us, we can leverage on our Research in Motion's established presence among the corporate users and move them and transit them to the lifestyle element of the Think series right now. But for Research in Motion, what we offer them is really an ability, a chance to reinvigorate the entire business model. Because RM is suffering quite a bit these days. And RM, before it was suffering, it really built its business. Business picked up when it started focusing on big cities such as Indonesia and Africa, because that is really not used there. So similarly, by entering to China, we offer the opportunity they can get volume consumers and really make a new business that come together.
Additionally, I think we offer them a wider variety. So we bring in different products. The mobile phone is no longer just a mobile phone on its own. It's all about integration with your different devices and working with your environment as well.
You're focusing on the T1 to 3 markets, right? And not so much on the T2, 4 to 6 and all the Asian markets. So how do you establish a global plan which just focus on particular markets?
So in terms of focusing on which markets, with regards to our strategy, the customer strategy, we're focusing on 2 specific markets. The developed cities such as the US, Europe, Singapore, for example, and for Tier 1 cities. So we think we can build a global branch route by focusing on these markets first, because when you build this brand identity that the Think Lenovo series really give people that seamless life and whatnot, consumers in the other cities such as Tier 4 and 6, and of course the emerging economies, they have something to aspire to. And when you look at the sales of consumer products, having that something to aspire to, going further, having that seamless integration, that is what will drive the conversion of these consumers over to the upper end of the product line. And that is exactly what we want to do. So moving forward past 2017, given the success of our strategy, we can start entering the Tier 4 to 6 markets, we can start entering the emerging economies, because by then, they'll be far more developed, and the consumers will be able to pay a premium price for better products like that. So we will be able to build a global brand that's a lot more cohesive.
One question about the financial. Why don't you think the projections we have is do you think it's a bit too ambitious to increase your EBITDA in 2 years and also it's 3 times in 2017? And with all the partnership with R&D or how money do you have to put in?
Okay, currently I've analyzed we have actually analyzed the previous prior performances of Lenovo and realized that their company profit EBITDA has been growing significantly over about 37%, 30% around that range. So we foresee that with our recommendations, the company will be able to sustain this growth rate and not actually decline because of the new players in the market like Apple and Samsung. So as we all know, the PC business is declining, and if Lenovo does not do anything, this growth percentage will actually decline. But with our recommendations, we firmly believe that this growth percentage can actually be sustained, and 30% of a compound annual growth rate of 32%, is actually a feasible number. And with our significant expenses, we actually hope to use our revenue, which our revenue will increase faster than our cost expenses, and this will actually offset our research and development expenses as well as our significant marketing expenses.
You mentioned some risk about the partners, Smart, Sharp, R&M, product and so on. So how do you assess the risk? Because that would be the major.
Well, For example, let's take a look at Sharp. One of the biggest risks is that if we want to acquire them, the acquisition will not go through, because acquisition does take a lot of work. So instead of acquisition, we can just do a simple non-equity partnership, because both companies would like to seek a new market, a new frontier in the industry, so we can mitigate the risk effectively. But in the event that all the companies do say no to us, then of course we can look at other companies out there who possess the technology and who like to expand beyond the market into China, into a global industry altogether. And we think those risks can be mitigated quite easily.
I think they do have strong incentive to come to join us. As we all know, these are actually flagging companies. For example, Sharp is being dominated by Samsung, whereas RIM is being overtaken by Apple and Samsung. So in that sense, we offer them an opportunity to tap on, and we have been, Lenovo has been known for that. They took the IBM computing business and they turned it around. So with that strong leadership and the opportunity to create this integrated solution, I think they do have strong incentive to join us.
I have a question following on Charlie's question around financials. I mean, I also think that the financial figures might be a bit too optimistic. And given that you're focusing on the, I guess, a very mature market, how do you project double-digit growth and while having sort of quite a big investment?
I think from a qualitative perspective, the reason why we have such an ambitious, optimistic projection is because that is the future of technology, that is the future of the PC industry, the fact that things are getting integrated. And because of that, companies have to provide an integrated solution. Currently, not many companies do that, and we are actually jumping ahead of our competitors, and therefore we think we can actually capture the market share before our competitors do. Hence, a very ambitious outlook. But I'll let you talk about the qualitative element.
Similarly, we actually highlighted that the growth drivers of our revenue will continue to come from our emerging markets as well as our tier 4 to 6 cities. We're not neglecting them completely. So there's huge development potential in these markets for our PC business still. And hence, with this existing growth, coupled with our new higher margin products, which is the smartphone as well as the smart TVs, the thin phones as well as the thin TVs, we can actually feel that this revenue kind of growth is actually possible in the future.
I mean, you're right to say that it's ambitious, but it's achievable if Lenovo goes really fast and really strong towards it. Hence our strategy, faster and stronger. The Olympic dream, yeah? Yeah, pretty much.
And how do you differentiate yourself from Samsung with the TV, the laptop thing?
I think that's true, but once again, Samsung adopts a very similar business model and strategy to Apple, and kind of lifestyle, the young crowd. But for us, we're expanding that a bit because we really have established presence among the business group people at the corporate side. So we want to transition them to the life thing, to the life segment altogether, by creating this harmony altogether. If you think about it, a lot of businessmen often have two phones, an iPhone and a BlackBerry. We think that's not needed at all with our smartphone, our plans, and this strategy for Lenovo. Because we really think that if the future is about integrating everything into one seamless platform, cloud, smartphone, tablet, and whatnot, Lenovo can deliver just that by giving them the perfect harmony of what we do. And to add on to that, there's a reason to why we actually targeted developed cities and tier 1 and 3 cities, because these cities will be the focus of growth in businesses. People who will struggle to achieve that balance in work and play because they're always working, fighting really hard to achieve balance in their freedom. And because of that, the story of connecting lives to the harmony of work and play is the main distinction from the Lenovo and King series compared to Samsung and Apple.
And at Lenovo, we are also trying to leverage on our capabilities, not just through our in-house like R&D, but also through the joint ventures. And this advantage comes about because if we look at Samsung, right, we just look at their smart TV, some of the offerings are very limited in certain regions, for example in Singapore itself, due to the fact that perhaps it's just not that developed at the time being. So one way that Lenovo can actually establish a competitive advantage is to really also to also concentrate and focus on its efforts to improve the offerings that it can actually provide to its customers.
So how do you use to sell this experience to your to your customers in the emerging market? You say you don't neglect that market, right? So are you going to roll out different product suite, different range to people that are less privileged and or less sophisticated, I should say, than the mature markets?
in terms of the actual physical products, yes, you can develop a product that's less sophisticated, less pricey for these markets. But in terms of in-store execution, because we want to drive down costs in these areas, we're actually begun to move to the online channel instead of actually executing an in-store experience in such emerging markets, for example. But moving forward past 2017, these markets become more developed, and we can start building a far more integrated in-store experience for these individuals.
And I think additionally, the beauty of the recommendation comes from the scalability. So it's not limited to, say, large enterprises. We can scale it down to small and medium businesses as well, and finally move it to the emerging markets through the use of cloud computing as a central processing unit. So instead of having to buy an individual software for each workstation that you have, what you have is you buy a general license on the cloud server, and this server does all the processing on the workstations. So this will allow us to have lower capability devices to the end consumer, which will translate to cheaper costs for them as well.
I think Matthew made a really good point. The success of companies really rests in their ability to not just change their strategy once in a few years, but adopting a repeatable model is highly scalable. And looking at our existing strategy, it will really be scalable and repeatable for the local consumers. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you, students.